Hi everyone, I'm John Hawkins with Live to Be Wastefree. We're going to be making some beeswax candles today. I'm joined by my friend Stephanie, who's filming me, and my dog Mabel, and we're going to walk you through the steps that you're going to need to make the candles and show you all the materials that you're going to need. So let's get started. Okay, well, to start off we're going to need beeswax, and I got this particular beeswax from a local bee farmer in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. It's about 20 miles north of here. It's called Johnson's Honey Farm, and they make a lot of honey, and the byproduct of that is beeswax, and it comes in these massive chunks. This was initially a 25-pound box of beeswax, probably make you about 200 candles. And when it comes in these big chunks, you're going to need a chisel and a hammer to break it into these smaller pieces that we're going to melt down with an oil that serves as a conduit to make it into a liquid. And I chose coconut oil because it has a nice aroma and it burns well with the beeswax. This particular coconut oil I got from a big box store. You could go to Sam's Club or Costco and you get a nice volume discount. You can buy it in a case. As far as the wicks, choosing a hemp wick, which is a natural wick. It's coated in a wax, so it burns slow and lasts a long time. It has a nice metal disc at the bottom that serves as the base plate for the bottom of the candle wick. Okay, so as far as the containers go, what we're going to be using today is a combination of some jars that we can close with a nice lid. So with having the top on it, it blocks the smoke from getting out. Other than the jars, we're also going to be using some upcycled glass bottles. In this case, a wine bottle. We're also going to be using some other jars and stuff like that. What we'll do is cut these with the tile saw that you can see here. And with the tile saw, we'll cut them slowly. Has a little bit of water that runs through it, so it works well. And then we'll use a hand sander and sand the top of it. It's going to look something like that. Alright, so to start cutting the bottles, we got the wine bottle here. We got our tile saw, and I've put a little bit of water into the reservoir underneath that so the blade is wet when it's cutting the glass. And obviously safety first here, so we're going to be wearing the eye protection in case any glass dust were to spray up into my face, and same with the mask for my mouth. Now with the bottles, cool aspect of the bottles with the design feature is you want to try to save as much as the label as you can, because when you get the candles finished, you're using the label to give it a decorative appeal. And the last thing about this tile saw is it's got this guard on it, and it kind of keeps the bottle equidistant. So when I'm cutting it, I'm going to spin it in a circular motion and use the guard to keep it at the same distance. So it's uniform all the way around. All right, here we go. There you have it. Virtually uniform, and then from here we're going to sand it down a little bit to make the top very nice and smooth. Okay, now that we've got our cut glass, we're going to use the hand sander, like I said, and sand the top of this. So I'll show you how to do that now. Alright, so we'll get to a nice flat surface where I can hold it, and again we're going to be using our safety glasses and our respirator. Alright, so there you can see we're just going to rinse that off, but it's nice and smooth. I can run my finger along the edge of it without even cutting my finger. Okay, so now that we've got all the glass bottles cut, the wine bottles, the drink bottles, and different things like that, we're going to rinse them out using a simple garden hose just to get rid of the glass dust and residue. And there you have it. Nice recycled, upcycled glass container. Okay, now we're going to start to break down these larger chunks of beeswax into smaller, more manageable pieces that will easily melt down. So what I'm using today is a hammer and a nail punch. And other materials you could use is like a pry bar or screwdriver or whatever you may have lying around the house. And you're just gonna kind of chip into it. You see it breaks down into smaller pieces, and we'll just continue to do that until they're smaller fragments. And one more thing is it kind of gets kind of messy, so I put down this little piece of paper or cardboard or whatever you'd like to use, just to try to contain the beeswax into a manageable space. To start to mix the coconut oil into our chunks of beeswax, and an easier way to get the coconut oil out I've found is to use a box knife and cut the bottom of it in a circular motion around, and you can easily access the coconut oil. And we will be mixing the coconut oil from the jar into this pot here. So what we've created here is a double boiler system, and we've got a nice pot from my kitchen that I hope to maintain and keep it clean. It'll be sitting in this pot here, and with the water in this pot, as it boils, it will start to slowly melt the wax chunks that we've got here. And we're adding the coconut oil into this, and it's going to be a ratio of about 50-50 or just shy of 50-50, a little bit less coconut oil than you have beeswax. And I've found that that ratio makes for a long-lasting burn and creates a nice viscosity to the liquid. So we'll just scoop out the coconut oil here and slowly add it to our mixture. And like I said, this will boil down and melt, and then we will start to add some other goodies like essential oils to it to provide some additional smells and scents. Okay, so now that we've got our double boiler working well, the water inside the outer pot is boiling. I've continually had to let a little bit of the water out because as we get more weight in the top container, the water starts to overflow. And I'm doing this outside on my grill on my porch, which is probably not the safest thing in the world, but it's right at the edge of the porch, so it's probably okay. We've got the chunks of beeswax melting there slowly. They take a little bit more time to melt, and I'm just adding, about a half ratio with the coconut oil, like I said, and you can just see it's slowly starting to melt. All right, so we've reached the stage in the process where we're ready to pour the melted beeswax and coconut oil mixture into another pot, but first we have to strain it. So what I'm using here is a pantyhose that I've used the old coconut jar to wrap that around. I'm using a rubber band to secure it. That one just broke, but I've got one on there already. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have my friend Stephanie assist me to hold the jar while I pour the mixture so we can strain it before we're ready to pour the candles. All right, so let me introduce my good friend Stephanie. She's going to help me as we do this slowly. So what I've got is a small glass pitcher. I'm just going to dip this into the beeswax and start pouring it through the pantyhose. See those chunks of the black that are going in there? We've reached the point where we've filtered the beeswax mixture with the coconut oil down to the purest form and got all the contaminants out of it. We're going to add some essential oils to the mixture to give some fragrance to it and also some energy. So these particular essential oils are lemon and bergamot, and these have a nice floral combination together. And what this is, essential oils that work with your third chakra, your solar plexus, and it's going to give you more vitality, more energy, more will to do the things that you want to create in your life. That already smells nice. Alright, so we're just stirring up the essential oils into the mixture, and we're about ready to pour this into the candles. Alright, so we've got all the candle containers lined up there on the front porch or back porch steps, and we're ready to put the candle wicks into the base of the candles. You'll notice that some of the wine bottles have a raised ridge in the center, which makes it a little bit difficult to center the wick. You want the wick in the center of the candle, and sometimes we will use something to stabilize the wick. For a simpler version, just to show you, these wicks, you can kind of straighten it and just kind of set it in the middle of the candle there, and as I pour, I'll have my assistant Stephanie help me keep it centralized in the center of the candle. Okay, so now that we've got the mixture all ready to pour, it's time to start setting the wicks into the containers. So what we're going to do is use these little wooden sticks to kind of help stabilize it. We'll dip it into the mixture and get a little bit of wax on there, and then we'll just centralize it into the center of the jar, and then push it down with a little bit of pressure with the wooden stick, and then you'll see that it sets nicely. And as we pour, we'll just hold the wick upright. Alright, so now it's time to start pouring these wonderful candles. So we're just going to dip that into the mixture. And we found that the wicks want to jump up from the bottom of the holder whenever you get them down in there. So we just kind of realized that you have to pour it in there and hold on to it while you pour. And if you can find some clothespins, or if you can see here, we've got these wooden sticks to kind of keep the wick upright. It takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes for it to dry, and then what you're going to do is kind of poke some holes in it to see if there's any air holes, and then go over the top of it one more time. So you can see here, I'm just going to poke some holes into the mixture just to clear up any air bubbles that may or may not be in there. And then we'll fill it back up with some hot candle wax. Alright, so from the candles from yesterday, we're just kind of going back over and topping them off. They got some cracks down in it, and when it started to dry, it starts to pull away from the glass itself. So the hot wax will fill the cracks and complete the process. And once those dry, we're going to have some amazing third chakra candles. Solar plexus, baby. Alright, so we're almost done with the candles. They're drying now. You can see this kind of the finished product here. As I said before, using the lid, you can screw that on so when you extinguish them, it doesn't ruin the nice aroma that you've created inside your house, and it doesn't create a bunch of smoke in there.